Hello and welcome to the Daily Levels for Friday, May 17. It's about a quarter till 8 a.m. Eastern. The levels you see here are just some of the levels, most of them. I removed some that did come out of the calculator in these spaces here. They were just a little too close for my comfort, considering a few things. One being that today, third Friday of the month, is options expiration day. And also on some of the smaller time frames, yesterday there was a couple indications that there could be a little bit more of a push down today. Now there's some unfinished business up here in this zone, still valid from yesterday. This is a longer term zone, as is this zone down here, and there's a zone in the middle. And like I said, there's other levels. If you're interested in these levels, feel free to email me. I'll provide them to you. I won't be trading them. I'm just going to keep an eye on them. I don't want to put them on the chart to confuse anybody, but the rest of the levels are pretty important. We'll come back to this chart after the market closes and analyze all the trades taken in the E-minis based off the levels here in the spiders. See you then. And just like that, the market has closed, and we're looking at how the spiders reacted off of our levels. Do you remember this morning when I said that I had other levels on the board that I would not use to trade against? They did come in handy to act as guidelines. They're the levels kind of in this light blue color. And honestly, they would have worked, or this one level that got hit multiple times would have worked, because a short trade after 9:45 would have given 4 points right here. But I didn't touch anything until it came down to this first zone. And I bought two contracts here. I was able to trail up. I bought two contracts at roughly the same levels. I had limit orders on the chart. You'll see that when we show the live recording of this. And I trailed a fair amount up. I kind of hoped that they would try to close above 530 since it's the end of the week and everything, and it would be a good place for them to close to show a little bit of strength, but they kind of petered out, and I jumped out toward the high here. But we'll take a look at the recording and talk through it then. Before I start rolling this, just notice that, so I had these limit orders on the chart, didn't quite line up with the levels. What I planned on doing is if they came through, filled me on both these levels, I would consider buying again a little bit lower. So I'd have a total of 6 contracts, but they came up close here, just coincidentally, like it wasn't at the level very precisely. But I'll start playing this, and when they did come down, I got the notification on my phone. I was actually away from my computer, kind of hurried back to take a look at what was happening, and they had already jumped up. And we're pulling out of this zone. So I just rode the 4 contracts up, and I'll show you what I did. But let me scrub ahead so you can see when they came down into this area, these 2 levels. So I'm long 2, I'm long 4, and they went lower. And honestly, if you played by the rules and just bought here and bought there, would have given you base hit pretty easily, or more if you were willing to hold on to it. So what happened is I saw something develop specifically on the 10-minute chart after they came out of this zone. So I'll speed up here a little bit. So it's almost 2:30 at this point. So they jumped up, and typically I'd just pull a base hit off in at least part of this position, but I thought I'd give it a little bit more, got more like 6 points or so, almost 7 points with 3 contracts. You'll see me put the objective, the first objective up there with 3 contracts, and I trailed the remaining 1 contract for quite a bit. So anyway, I saw something develop on the 10-minute chart, also saw it on the 15-minute chart. They gave me a pretty good feeling that this general area would be a longer term bottom. So I started looking at, well, if they get back up above 528.82, again, a level I did not trade, but it was important, as you can see. This was also provided, these other numbers, levels that are in this light blue, they were provided via email to a number of pre-subscribers. And if anyone tried to trade them this morning, they probably were rewarded. But I thought if they can get above this, they could probably go as high and maybe even close up and around 530. Didn't happen, but anyway, that was kind of my target. So you see my first target to sell 3 was there. That didn't take too long. And then they kept going higher and pulling me up. So that was my target, to get out before they got up to 530. So what ended up happening is I let it go all the way till 4 o'clock, and even right after 4 o'clock. No, let me just let this go and I'll talk through a few things. So when you're this high, so I only have 1 contract, and they're up quite a bit. I mean, that's a fair amount of points, a pretty respectable amount of points for 1 contract to be up $800. And this is, there is some resistance here, and you might ask yourself, why don't you just take this and be happy? Because either they're going to fall down, I would lose half of that almost, or they might spike up. But either way, if I just jump out now, it's not a bad trade for this one remaining trailer here. Well, the thing is, it's kind of a mindset, like, or a philosophy to have. Like, I don't really mind if they come down and stop me up. I had a good first part of that trade of the three contracts at the 900 and something dollars. So, it's like I'm happy to trade two contracts, get a base hit for $400 at 4 points. So anything extra than my original plan is just kind of gravy. So anyway, because I don't know if they're going to go higher at this point, there's a good chance they could. So that was my target, and I wasn't going to change it. And I wasn't going to change this roughly 8 point or 7.5, 8 point trailer I had going. If they came down and stopped me out, I'd be happy with it. They came up and filled this, I'd be a little happier, of course. But as it were, 4 o'clock is coming up. What happened is I just closed it out roughly toward the highs, 800, basically $800 at 775 or something with the remaining contract right after 4 o'clock, when it looked like they were going to kind of stall out and not really have enough juice to go up, and close above 530 for the day and for the week. So that's what they did. So let's just let this play 2 minutes before 4 o'clock, 1 minute before 4 o'clock, and you'll see all these orders disappear when I just hit close it right there, and that's pretty much it. I'll just stop the recording because nothing happens after that. So that was really one trade in my book. I mean, this was the zone, so I'm willing to scale in, and I did. So pretty good. And also, you'll notice I did not adjust these levels like I typically do. On a zone like this, it's less important because I don't know where they're going to find the bottom when they get in this zone, as it were. They bounced here, but that was in front of the zone. Bounced right there at it, not enough. So really, you can make the case this was right there in the middle was the place. You could have gone all in the middle if you wanted, but I like to scale in when I can identify a zone for various reasons. So we'll take a look at the tracking log, and let's talk about what happens when you have the average of around 17 points on a trailer at two contracts per level. Well, first, playing by the rules, if you were going to trade two contracts at each level, you would have averaged in, you would have had a base hit on the combined position, so $800 for the two contracts at each level, equivalent of 4 points there. What I did, as you saw, was I took 3 off at a pretty fair amount of points and trailed one contract up for quite a bit more. The net total of the average of these two was 17.75 points because my two contracts netted 17.75 before commissions. So not a bad way to end the week. The entire week was pretty good, even with this little drawdown here or the setback. I haven't really looked at the whole thing. Of course, I'm not trading, 2, 1, 3 I mean, it's just it varies depending on how I feel a level is going to react. I might feel more confident about a level, so I'll buy 3 or 4, or sometimes just 1. But you see how I try to share as many of these trades as possible when I'm able to record them, and so you get to see these. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's worth of trades and levels, and if you haven't subscribed already, I'd appreciate it if you would continue to support the channel. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.